Hi, so welcome back. Today we're going to do trigonometry, and today we're going to find all solutions within 0 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 2 pi, which you can know as 360 degrees. And then we have the equation, sine pi minus x plus 1/2 equals 0. So let's go ahead and solve this equation first and find all the solutions that goes within this. So wait a second. Oh, sorry about that. Just wait a second and I'll do this. So now let's go. So, since we have sine pi minus x, we focus on the sine pi minus x first. So it'll be, so we know that sine a minus b matches this because sine a, which you know as pi, minus b, which is known as x. So in order to solve this equation, first we think about sine pi minus x first. So sine a minus b is always equal to sine a cos b minus cosine of a and sine of b. So always remember this. So in the same way, sine pi minus x is equal to sine pi cosine x minus cosine pi sine x, right? So here we got this here. Now realizing this, we can do we can take sine pi, right? So sine pi and cosine x minus cosine pi and sine x. And then plus 1/2 equals 0, okay? So we have plus 1/2 equals 0. So we have here this one here, right? So what we can do is that we can subtract 1/2 from both sides, right? So let me subtract 1/2, right? 1/2 minus 1/2. And remember, this becomes negative, so it'll be negative 1/2 equals to sine pi cosine x minus cosine pi sine x. So if you don't understand, I wrote sine pi cosine x minus cosine pi multiplied by sine x equals negative 1/2. So sine pi, remember sine pi. So sine pi, if we go to, let's say if we have a graph here, right? Right, and we have an origin at 0, 0, right? Remember the unit circle. So if we're looking at sine pi, remember, just like the x coordinate is cosine and the y coordinate is sine, we have cosine theta and comma sine theta right here, right? So this here makes 90 degrees, right? Theta equals 90 degrees. This right here makes 180 degrees, right? And this one here is 1, 0. While this one is actually 0, 1, right? And this one is negative 1, 0. And we can see that since this one right here, when you go 90, it's negative 1, 0. Because cosine is like the x coordinate, we have like cosine pi is minus 1, while sine pi is actually equal to 0. So let me actually delete this really quick. Okay, so now let's focus on here now. So since sine pi is equal to 0, 0 multiplied by cosine x minus cosine pi, so it's be minus 1 multiplied by sine x equals negative 1/2, right? And we know that 0 times any number, even if it's a variable, is always equal to 0. So we can say 0 minus, right? we know this minus 1 times sine x is like equal to minus sine x equals negative 1/2, right? So it'd be 0 plus sine x, right? So 0 plus sine x equals negative 1/2, right? Now we have sine x is equal to negative 1/2, right? So now this is just like the arcsine of 1/2, or you can say sine minus 1/2, right? So if you're looking at here about like sine x equals negative 1/2, in order to do this, I must change this. Since you might not see because my handwriting is kind of bad, but it's okay. I'm still explaining, so you can just see right here. So I wrote sine x positive sine is equal to negative 1/2. So what we can do here is like we can look into the unit circle. So in the unit circle, if you look at what will bring us 1/2, we can see like negative 30 degrees, but we do not have to put negative 30 degrees or something like that. So one answer that could be reasonable, kinda, I'll say, could be, if you're thinking about, I'm still remembering. So let's create a unit circle really quick. So let's take a quick look at the unit circle. Forgot about the first quadrant, because in the first quadrant, remember, sine theta is greater than 0 and cosine theta is greater than 0. So let's focus on this one here, and then about a fourth quadrant here. So this is 2 pi over 3, which is 120 degrees, right? And next we have 135 degrees, right? If you're turning 135 degrees, will be 135 over 180. You have 27, 18, and we can put as 3 over 4, right? And this is 3 pi over 4, right? And then now let's look in right here, be 210, right? So what is 210? So 210 over 180, 21 over 18. Sin pi, it'll be sin pi over 6 right here, right? And since right here will be sin pi over 6, which is 210 degrees right here, we know that pi over 6 is 30 degrees. So therefore, when do 1260 divided by 6 and then we turn it into degrees, it will be 210 degrees. And we know sin pi over 6 is actually to negative 1/2, because sine, remember sine theta is always, in the third quadrant, is always negative. So therefore, it will be sin pi over 6 will be one answer, right? One answer will be sin pi over 6, comma. Now let's talk about 225 degrees, right? So 225 over 180. So we can bring this as 45 over 36 divided by 9 on both sides would be 5. What would it be? 5 pi over 4, right? This will be 5 pi over 4. This will be 3 pi over 2, because this is 270 degrees right here. And right here, this was right here as far as we go. So since this is 270 degrees, it'd be 300 degrees. So it'd be like 30 over 18. We can simplify that into 15 over 6. I guess yeah, 15. No, we cannot simplify it. 15 6. I'm sorry about that. We can simplify that into 3 pi over. So if you divide by 3 and both, that'd be 5 pi over 3, right? And that would be still 5 pi over 3. It was not really a good value. So like, now we're gonna do 330 degrees. Like, let's test 330 degrees. So 33 out of 18, it will be 11 pi over 6, right? Remember, we always need to put 11 pi over 6. So now we also got 11 pi over 6. So will that match our solution within this? 11 pi over 6. Well, if you look at here in the fourth quadrant, sine is negative in the third quadrant, and sine is also negative in the fourth quadrant, because remember our trigonometric inequalities in here. So it'd be 11 pi over 6. That will also be the answer. And about 5 pi over 6, let's talk about 5 pi over 6. I also saw that in the unit circle, so multiply by 180 over pi will be 900 over 6, which is 30 degrees, like if we know 5 pi over 6 is determined, it would be 30 degrees, and 180 80 multiplied by 5 is 900, divided by 6 would be 150 degrees. 150 degrees is in the second quadrant. And since the second quadrant in here is actually sine is literally positive, and cosine will help everything because it's negative in the second quadrant. So remember, first quadrant, I'll just say first, right? Sine is greater than 0, cosine is also greater than 0. And then the second quadrant, remember always, sine is greater than 0, while cosine is less than 0. And in the third quadrant, right, I shall say, sine, comma, cosine are both less than 0, meaning it's negative. In the fourth quadrant, right, sine is less than 0 and cosine is greater than 0. So there you have it. And about 5 pi over 6, as I was saying, when you like change into like radians to degrees or something like that, it'll actually be 300 degrees or something like that. And when you talk about 300 degrees, I also say it's actually looking in the fourth quadrant and sine is negative. So that also might work. So it might be 5 pi over 6 because that is actually located in the fourth quadrant. It's in the second quadrant, right? Oh wait, I haven't created a mistake. Sorry about that. 5 pi over 6 will not be true because though it has the pi over 6 angle, 5 pi over 6, if you're changing that from radians to degrees, remember, radians to degrees is like, for example, let's say if I have 5 pi over 6, right? What about by 180 over pi? And the pi's will cancel off. 900 divided by 6 is 150. This would be 150 degrees, right? And since that's looking in the second quadrant, we know sine is actually positive there. So these will be the solutions. 7 pi over 6, comma, 11 pi over 6.